So in this video, we're going to look at how to apply Blade Runner style colour grading and neon effects to your photos. Now this is suitable for the desktop or the iPad, and it's just a bit of fun really. So let's start with a blank. We'll launch Affinity Photo and create a new document. I'm using an iPad mini Retina. Well, I'm using an iPad, so I'll select the iPad mini Retina preset. So my wallpaper size is going to be 2048 by 1536 pixels. If you're using another model or would like to create your image for another device, you can find your appropriate model under presets. It actually doesn't matter what device you're on. You can create it for any device you like, and, well, really, any size you like. Just keep the aspect ratio the same as the image, your base image you're going to use. So as I mentioned, I'm starting with my iPad mini 5. Tap OK to create your new blank document. Portrait orientation, transparent background. Well, I prefer to start with a transparent background anyway. Now just for recap, here we have all the tools of Affinity Photo mode. They're showing there by holding down the little question mark on the bottom right hand corner. It displays your tools. We'll be switching between the photo and develop personas in the top control panel of the app. I've got them highlighted there. Now here's all the tools of the Affinity Photo develop mode. They're all there, but the only one we're using is Basic Studio, and that's over on the right hand side there, second from the top. Hide UI, Basic Studio. That's the one we'll be using. We'll be switching between photo and develop personas for some of the adjustments. So first, flood fill a background layer. Place this free image from Unsplash and lock the vertical and horizontal guides in place. I'll be using this free image by Ethan Brook on unsplash.com, and you can find it there easily enough. Position the image centrally, lock the layer and duplicate it. You don't want to be using the original image layer. Go to the Photo Studio, select the image layer. Now open Tools and select Rasterize. You don't want it as an image. You need to rasterize it so it becomes a pixel layer. The layer will change to a pixel layer from an image layer. You need this or the develop tools won't work. Now go to Develop Studio Basics to apply a series of adjustments to enhance the image. The temperature and tint sliders can be used to introduce the pink and blue colour scheme that is a core component of the cyberpunk style. Decrease the highlights and increase the shadows to control the overall brightness and contrast of the image and bring out the details with a HDR style appearance. You can see the settings I've got there. Shadows 72%, this is down the bottom right hand side, and highlights of -70%. So it's changed the colour of the image already considerably. Reduce the clarity slider slightly to soften the glow of the lights, then boost the contrast amount to bring back some contrast to the image. Don't press develop yet, whatever you do. Now, still in Develop Studio, switch over to the Tones Studio. Temporarily max out the saturation sliders to then find a suitable hue. A bright pink for the highlights and a rich blue for the shadows. Then bring down the saturation values to reduce the vibrancy of the effect. You can see already it's changing it considerably. Under the Lens Studio tab, add a vignette to darken the edges of the image. Bring up the scale value slightly so the vignette smoothly fades out. Now it's not terribly evident on here because it's such a small image, and there is another way of doing it. It could also be done in the FX Studio a little later. Now finally, tap Develop. These Develop Studio adjustments alone completely transform the appearance of the original photo, giving it a stylised and colour graded appearance. But we can enhance the cyberpunk effect further with additional adjustments. Now you can see the original on the right there, and our new variation is the rather central large image. Add a levels adjustment layer, then bring in the levels adjustment for the shadows, which will alter the black point to wash out the darkest areas of the image. You might have to experiment with this a little bit because it's not an easy thing to get right unless you've got some experience with this. Select the image again and select the basic studio. That's in the develop mode. Then reduce the shadows slightly to wash them out a little and push up the highlights somewhat. Tap Develop again when satisfied. Now you can see we've brought that colour back up again. Next we'll use the threshold adjustment in the adjustment studio to bring up the highlights. We're back in photo again now, remember? Select the image, add the adjustments layer, then move it above the shadows highlights layer. Set the blending mode to screen. You can see in the layers panel that I've got them there, stacked one on top of the other one and on top of the image. All of these effects are subtly changing the image, and when you get this on your own device you will see how they change. Change the blending mode of this layer to screen, then reduce the opacity to around 40%. To leave an array of subtle colour casts. Our image so far, quite different than the original image, you'll agree. Converting any existing signs or advertisements within the photograph to neon lights is a great way to illuminate the scene. Add a new layer and set up the brush tool with a small tip, very tiny, it's about 6 pixels I think, and 100% hardness. Oh, and you can see there, I was just about to move past this, I've got a colour overlay set there, and it's a faint blue, and it's in screen mode. So it's a very subtle effect, and you can experiment with that one if you like. Trace any neon lights in other colours on a new layer. So I've traced one on very top left there, and I've also done the one that's a pinkish colour that the arrow's pointing. Edit the hue settings to produce other neon colours. As a finishing touch, add a new layer and apply some mist effects using this free set of smoke brushes, and you can see the address there. Will I put that on my website? No, there you can find them there. That's easy. I'll put this in the descriptions underneath the YouTube video. Now you can see the layers there. I've got the smoke layer we've just added at the top, and there's 2 neon signs. Then there's the effects that have been applied to the image itself in the layers panel. Set the blending mode of the smoke brush layer to colour dodge and reduce the fill value to allow the colours to interact, producing a vivid mist effect. So you can see you haven't actually got the smoke drifting through the street now, but it's gone rather misty. And you can experiment with this. You might actually have mist brushes. You might want to do the smoke effect slightly differently. I have it running from the left and right front corners up the middle of the street a little bit and then up into the air. But you can change that to suit your own desires. And as I say, you should feel free to experiment on all levels and produce these vivid cyberpunk effects on any suitable image. This work was all done on my iPad Mini 5. So it's either limited or not, depending on how you see it. So thanks for watching. I love to think I am helping others find new ideas, which is the basis of this little tutorial, looking for new ideas. Don't forget to subscribe so I can keep bringing you these great ideas. Spread the love. Oh, and if you happen to have TikTok, and who doesn't have TikTok, that's where you can find me. Open TikTok and scan the code.